Most illogical. Fascinating.
I am nomad. I am nomad. I am nomad.
Bitter dregs.
Stand by to beam up.
Live long and prosper.
Stand by to beam up.
Most illogical.
Stand by to beam up.
Live long and prosper. Fascinating.
I am nomad. I am nomad. I am nomad.
Bitter dregs. Fascinating.
Stand by to beam up.
Live long and prosper.
Stand by to beam up.
Most illogical.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live in Technicolor from the beautiful Hollywood Hills, California. The show where the total retail price of their advice is $0. This is Timelines Talks. Featuring guest musical performers, Metallica frontman, oh my, it's Stars and Garters. Also featuring, hey buddy, you're a tier 9. Look out, it's Automaton 2000. And now, from Spreadsheet City, here's your host, Captain Idol.
Leila, got me on my knees, Leila. Yes, welcome to the Leila stream, the entirely Eric Clapton focused. Oh no, wait, I got it wrong yet again. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Timelines Talk, the premium #1 exclusive show for Star Trek Timelines, and I am joined by my fabulous co-host to either side of me, the wonderful Automaton 2000 and the extravagant Stars and Garters. Gentlemen, welcome to Timelines Talks. This week, we have a fun...
I was really worried there. I don't know shit about Eric Clapton. That could have been real bad.
To be honest, neither do I. I've got a couple of albums. I've got the unplugged one. I've got some live one somewhere, and yeah, that's about it.
I found out today that this is... that you actually write down the intro to the stream and recite it wonderfully each time. This is the first time you got it right, and you got it written down. How did you mess up 4 months of it with it written down? That's what I want to know.
Perfection takes time. That's all I can say. We've got a good show for you tonight. We are going to be talking about the new Mirror collection. We'll be talking about this week's event crew, the LTOs, the Tuesday pack that has come up this week as of anything. For those who are listening to this not live, you know we have the podcast. If you're listening onto that, you can go to any of your podcast applications and find Timelines Talks. YouTube, we have our replays. And if you're watching any of those and want to join us live, well, we're here 8:30 BST and 15:30 EST. So come and join us for those that are here live. Thank you. Welcome. Okay. First off, top of the order. Congratulations to our event winner from last week, the hybrid Galaxy Skirmish. For winning whole 5 stars to bring congratulations to DKA L.Riker. So well done on that monumental achievement, because it's hard enough to win a Galaxy for the amount of tapping. It's got to be even harder to do 2 days worth of that with a skirmish on top of it, which, gosh, even I bailed on this one, because usually skirmishes I kind of go, yes, fine, let's go, and tap it through, but oh, no. Number 1 on any of those.
Yeah, this one was this was ill-timed for me, because I've actually started to run out of crew to level. All I had at the time was Krenim Chakotay, who sat unleveled in my thing for about 9 months or whatever, since the last, whenever his mega was. Jannar, who I got my first star of, and I think Boreth Pike, and I was sitting there looking at Boreth Pike like, you're my lifeline, buddy. You're what's going to get me through my dailies. I don't want to have to grab 1-star Clarinet Kim and start just tapping through. I don't want to do that.
That's the nightmare, isn't it?
I'm scrolling down the list of the leaderboard for this last event, and I see last week's winner,
Bry in 35th place. So, dude, go take a nap or something. All right, you've proven that you can handle events. So take a break. You've earned it.
It's an apology, Sir Bry. Last week we mispronounced your name, but you kindly told us in the comments. So we will look forward to saying your name on the next time you win an event. So keep up the good work.
Would you say that he was a little bit cheesed off? You called him green. No, come on.
Shall we? Right, okay. When pre-show, we were talking about what we were going to call this episode, which we always do. We always have a little silent. What should we call this one? And Stars, do you want to sort of come up with your genius idea of what this episode you thought was going to be called?
So I was running on empty. I'm not gonna lie, because like, I think, well, we've got the mirror collection. There's got to be some kind of mirror pun, and then when your brain just kind of goes into what's the stupidest possible thing I can say right now mode. And I said, you got Leila Kalomi in all my Halloumi, and I think Idol found it way funnier than he had any right to.
It was nearly the show title. We were literally T-minus 1 minute and just went, no, we can't call it that.
I had to call it 4-star Toba because that sounds vaguely professional, and that's what we allegedly are.
Apparently so. Okay, this week as well we also have, well today in fact, you have a care package. Another one, I think they're now once every 2 or 3 weeks. Giving you a couple more voyage tokens, a couple more supply kits, and some more chronotons. So if you haven't seen that, go and claim those. I think they last about a week, so plenty of time to go grab it. But it's a nice little boost for anyone that needs it. This week...
Is there a timer there? I just go and gobble it up straight
To
up.
be honest, so do I. I was about to go and look and see if
there
there was, but I think I literally went to all of
They just
my...
start stacking up on top of each other. You have claimed 100 voyage tokens.
Could you imagine?
I really appreciate them continuing that because we have this sort of unwritten rule to not talk about real world stuff and bum anyone out. But I guess the reason for the care packages in the first place are not going away just because we're bored of the situation. So I appreciate the continued support, and anyone out there that's been affected, we wish you the best.
Yeah.
No, it's very nice of them to do, and like for those of us schlubs like myself who keep on forgetting their voyages, it's very appreciated.
Well, those of us who get like data core estimated at like, oh yes, 10 hours 30 and it dies at like 9:58. It's like, oh, come on, okay, fine, I'll revive. There's at least one SR I can get for 200 on here. The other big news this week is we actually have a brand new collection that's now hit the Cryostasis Vault, the Mirror Collection, which, if you can complete, all 40 Immortalized crew will give you plus 1% to both your security and command bases, and plus 1% to all your proficiencies for those. No, sorry, 2% to... Is it 2% or 1%? I can't remember now. I think it might be 2% to the proficiencies, isn't it?
1% base, 2% proficiency for command and spec. Yeah,
that's right. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but actually can boost you in ways if you combine it with some of the other stats. So it's a little bit sort of, and it's definitely shifted the dynamic of the Voyage leaderboard for those that haven't seen it on the Paladin's L100 sheet or my own back end sheets. The Voyage list, which lists everyone down from their Voyage power, is shifted things around, that now Sinister Picard is now the number 3 Voyager, knocking First Officer Burnham down. This is the hot chart for Voyage crew exclusivity this week.
That is our holy Bible, and there are so many false prophets that have been exposed this week. Drop 3 ranks, I'm kicking you off of my site list,
And spoiling things a bit in the future, when Mok'bara Crusher came out, she was the number 10 Voyager, and as soon as the Mirror Collection out, she's number 11, so...
Trash.
Get rid of
it.
You've wasted it. Stars, you wanted to talk a little bit about some of the crew in this... Well, you both did, I assume. You wanted to talk a little bit about the crew in this collection. There's a few names that are sort of worth a shout-out here, especially for those looking to branch out both usability in it.
Yeah, so this Mirror Collection is actually a lot more interesting than people might think just looking at it, because people think, oh, it's just a collection, how much trouble is that to add? You just, tick the stat and you whatever. This is a kind of a big deal, actually, because we were thinking about this, so what was the last stat booster that was added to the game? Not just expanded like Vulcan or Diplomat. What was the last stat booster that was outright just added? And I'm pretty sure if you look all the way back, I don't think there have been any since the initial rollout of collections as a whole. So this is the first in what, 2-3 years?
Yeah, I actually went back on the forums, and I think it's on like page 130 something. Uh, on the forums are talking about it. So yeah, we've had a couple of vanities added between now and then, but I believe this is the first standalone stat boosting collection since then.
Yeah, because we've had like Vulcan and Diplomat added, and that was a seismic change. It was like, oh, we're inching closer and closer from 10-hour voyages being the standby to maybe we could get to 12-hour voyages. And if this is the first one, we don't even know what could become. And it's a case of Mirror has been asked for ages. Like, I know that when I was mod on the Timelines Reddit, I think the guy whose name was Drebin295, and every time a Mirror crew would come out, he was overjoyed because he loved Mirror Crew. He would clip them no matter how bad they were. Anytime they topped up in an event, he was like, oh, I love Mirror Crew. And it's like, that guy had a fucking field day when that popped up. His 5 out of 5 Mirror Kayla Detmer did him good. Now, you know what? Power to him. And it opens up all kinds of like little avenues of, because this is a relatively decent sized collection. This is like 46. And you sort of start to wonder, well, what could be next? Do you think maybe an expansion to possibly like Romulan, if we get a lot more of them? I would love to see Cardassian expanded, because there's a lot of Cardassian characters we haven't got. Like Ferengi, all those small ones could get expanded out with loads more characters, and then their threshold was bumped up, or new ones added outright. And that's a big, kind of like a big game changer. And I feel like people who call it, oh, this isn't real content. No, this is big. It will affect your day-to-day quite a bit, actually.
It's nice to
I'm
see. Sorry, go on.
I'm very grateful that they decided to go with a 40 crew threshold. There are only 46 Mirror crew, and only one of them is rare or below, and that being Mirror Smiley O'Brien. So this will end up being one of the tougher ones. I think it's after Diplomat is the second toughest one in the game right now. And I really appreciate that, because that's long term. You're going to be able to grow into it. Going by WRG DB's track record, they haven't been very quick to update these. I know we got one earlier this year with Vulcan and Diplomat. So the fact that they roll it out already with an eye to the future, you have time to grow into it. I really appreciate it. I don't want to have it done the day that it launches and be like, oh, well, that's nice, but now I have nothing to work for. So
yeah, and especially Mirror, I think, really needed this kick in the pants, because if you look at these Mirror crew, a lot of them are really dire. And like, these are crew that you look at, and even main cast names, you're like, I'm not going to use you because your bases are that bad. People like Mirror Sato, Mirror Archer, Mirror Cisco, where you look at them and you go, I think there are probably 3-star crew variants of you that are better.
Yeah, small programming. No, we'll update the value for that in the big book later on this week or this weekend. But yeah, because of how difficult it is to complete, you will need basically every single purple in the game. I know there's one or two I think that aren't in Portal. Mirror Chekhov was in a 6-pack earlier this year. That might be difficult to get him, but so it's all hands on deck for even the Mirror Archers and Mirror Uhuras of the world, which are
I literally
just
got Mirror
inarguably
Cisco.
awful.
I literally got Mirror Cisco appear in a voyage today, and I was just like, okay, right, it's your time. I'm going to stop airlocking you and put you in.
Guess what? Like, adding relevance to crew that otherwise you'd never looked at. I mean, it's like, there's value. You look at that, like, Terrible Begold, like, from like a year ago, where it was like 3 Mirror crew, and you're like, oh man, that's terrible. And then you're like, you know what? Maybe I wasn't so bad in the end. Adding value to crew after the fact is something that's very hard to do.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why I like collections so much.
I mean, I've got Mirror Sulu in a merit pool. I was just like, oh, Mirror Sulu, really? But now I'm just like, oh, I've got Mirror Sulu. Okay, that's a filler.
You got Mirror Sulu, yeah.
He's not getting immortalised for about 5 years.
Begolds, then you'll be... yeah. If you get another 4 bad Begolds, I'm sure he'd be very happy to have him. But so this collection does not change the fact that a lot of Mirror crew are bad. So what I thought we could do is sort of highlight the top 15 with an eye to, you're probably going to get all the purples at some point trickling in through voyages, through events, because they love rerunning the events. You can get a few Mirror crew from campaign rewards as well. So these are sort of like the top 15 5-stars. So number 1 on the list is like Jean-Luc Picard, Mirror Jean-Luc, because still an amazing card. What, 3 years after his release?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the end of 2017, so...
Yeah, if you're not still seeing walls of him in Gauntlet, then please give me your gauntlets. Then you got your Resident Boomstick, Killy, Stamets, Data, Kira, Troy, Worf, who's my personal love child. I cited him from 3 out of 5 to 5 out of 5, and this is the perfect excuse. Giorgio, who was in an LTO not too long ago. The Prophet, who was
an event rerun.
Yes, she was in that Mistress of the Mirror we had just before the Mega. The Prophet, who was in an LTO even more recently. Funny that. Mirror Spock, I know he's gross, but he's still a Spock. Mirror Shukar, or I think he's just called Shukar because there's no Prime version of him. And Mirror Kirk, because he's a Kirk.
I thought there was an Admiral Shakar in Discovery in the Prime, or
I
that
think
might have been another
turns up
Andorian.
for like all of. The problem is I don't think they ever like address him by name.
I think I'm being very speciesist here.
That hasn't stopped new cards from coming in before. So.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's true actually. And this is probably going to be the hardest sell for those of you who have him at 1 out of 5 like I do. Mirror Zeph from Cochrane is not the worst card. Like, both Cochranes in the game are pretty bad, but they tend to be collection magnets, and they have a lot of traits, so you could do worse than picking them in a bad gold. You could do a lot worse.
Yes, so the only two crew from that list who I would cite still for gameplay performance reasons outside of this collection are obviously Mirror Jean-Luc Picard, who's still a good Voyager, gets events, and the Gauntlet you don't need extra stars for, but that just adds to his value. And then Mirror Killy, who, while no longer a good shuttler or Voyager, she still does catch events from time to time, and the main reason for citing her up would be the arena damage. So if you don't have a +9 or +10 attack crew, you could certainly justify that with her there. So the rest of these crew are really quite borderline. I mean, if you're big into collections and you want to just add a 4th or a 5th star to finish them off, that's not the end of the world. But what you really want to look for in addition to the collection, obviously, is long-term value, which generally comes down to events. Because once you stop using someone on voyages or in the Gauntlet, you're not going to use them again. Like that's not like a come and go type thing. They just get power creep. That's the nature of the game. So events, I mean, even someone with gross numbers like Mirror Kirk, if you start adding stars to him over time in beholds where the other options aren't spectacular, you may find that when his 19th event comes around, which should be any day now, maybe at 3-5, he does make that 4th shuttle for you or the 5th shuttle for you. So in terms of citations, I would hold your horses on that. In the past, they have sort of stuffed the coffers with collection crew after the fact. So we may see a couple more Mirror crew before the end of the year. You know, I wouldn't bet on it, but maybe we do. But otherwise, I think just maybe bump them up a little bit in your behold priority, but don't break the bank trying to fuse up all of these otherwise average at best crew.
Yeah, sort of pursuant to your point there is a case of, we had the Vulcan and Diplomat added, and in this Mega alone, we've had, 3 Vulcans, 3 Diplomats, and it's a case of, they're slowly filtering in. They obviously don't want to just throw a million at you at once, but you will feel really silly if you cite up a gross card like, say, Mirror Reed, and think, oh, well, he's going to get me that threshold reward. Yeah. You could stand to wait a little bit with that, unless you're a total nutcase, which I can claim to be because I took this as an excuse to finish off Mirror Worf.
Yeah,
that was best sick base.
That was a sight for love. You're a well-known Worf aficionado, so no one's going to hold you to the stone for that.
Yeah, and the thing is I've had my eye on him for ages because I kept on locking into stars for him, and I was like, you know what, I have this free Star Trek Day citation I have been sitting on for ages. He'll push me. I have literally one more crew left until I hit the next threshold in that collection. It feels worth it. And in fact, you know what, this actually dovetails nicely into something we're going to be talking about a little bit, which is, for those of you who frequent the Star Trek Timelines Reddit, around about September last year, there was a fun little idea called the Honor Suicide Pact, which is basically a case of you pick a crew with pretty gross stats who you would never cite normally. You wouldn't go, I need this card right now to make my voyages or my event outlook better. But you go, I want to just see what you're like at 5 out of 5. I just want to play around with you. I like the character. I like this. I like that. Or there's something weird about them. And you're like, I want to see what you're like at 5 out of 5. And my choices were Prince Bashir, who's now 5 out of 5. I think Delta Fly Paris and Mirror Worf. And I was I was like, oh man, it's so nice that I got Prince Bashir. Everyone was so nice because we allowed other people to vote on it, and that was what determined it. And everyone was very nice to each other, which I thought was terrible and against the idea of the entire. Be cruel, be cruel.
No, people were nice to you and Big McLarge Huge. They were not nice to everybody.
Guess what? If you don't want people to tell you to dislike Trelane, don't talk about how much you love Trelane.
I mean, listen.
But
Like
in the back of my mind,
the community are very nice in general. Because I remember when I was doing, back when I came back into the game and I was doing my honor sale pulls, and I was just like, vote if you want me to do the bad option or the good option. I was like, no, do the good option. So have some faith in the community. They can be some good eggs there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but so the community was quite nice to me, and I got Prince Bashir, who was like triple collection crew. He's in my 45% gauntlet right now, so I can't say that I did badly out of that. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I could have had a miracle, and I feel like for a weirdo like me, that's worthwhile. So we're thinking of running through that again. We're not quite sure of the timing yet because we're all doing our shortlists, but now that we have a bigger audience, if you guys want to join in, I think that'd be a lot.
Oh, they'd better join. If they are going to bring misery upon the three of us, then they can definitely join in, and we'll have more details. But yeah, like Sora says, figure out a short list, maybe 3 or 4 crew who. I mean, there's the essential of the idea is crew that you really want to have fully fused gold. A crew that you would never ever cite, like either their stats are bad or you just have a higher priority, but you've always wanted them at 5/5. So yeah, for him it was Prince Bashir. For me, it ended up being Trelane, and I actually didn't use him once before I moved on to my next alt. But it was still, it was a fun exercise, which is why we're going to bring it back. So yeah, if you don't mind a little no pain no gain, and you want to have some fun with us, figure out your short list, and we'll have the chat posted somewhere, maybe on the forum, so that other people can vote on it, and then you guys will choose our pain/pleasure as well. So
I think
choose
if we
your
do,
pain. That's the appropriate starting title.
I think if we do get another honor sale, not them saying that we are, but if we do, around, in another 6 months' time, that would be a perfect time to do it because we're sitting on these sites, so let's do it around then. I think that's quite a nice sort of. Because I don't know, I think when I had about 17 sites to blow, I didn't feel so mind just putting them on anything, really. But now I've got none and a load of honor. I'm just like, I don't really want to. I just thought, hold on, I want to keep stockpiling.
Guess what? This is what happens when a higher value comes along. It makes everything else seem like terrible.
Exactly.
So just a little short note for those of you who are interested in potentially joining us in this incredibly foolhardy and stupid idea. There are very loose rules. Like the actual only rule is it has to be someone who you wouldn't normally cite, but you want a 5 out of 5. If you want something a bit stricter than that, our sort of loose rule is they can't be above the number 30 base for their primary skill, and they cannot be above number 180 Voyager. So 2 skillers are an easy candidate. If you're that weird Captain Scott fan out there, maybe this is your time.
By the way, shout out to Plain Simple Garrick, who came out of that first round with a fully fused 1001, and he just I can't use the terminology, but he basically showed us up because we were all showing our, we might use this crew sometimes. He's like, no, I will never use this crew. And he dropped the hammer on us, and we're all like, all we could do is, applaud and admire his commitment to the honor suicide pact. So good on him.
It's basically we're bearing a crucifix, that like the finals, like Jesus. Because that was a different proposition back then. They weren't in the portal, so you couldn't be like, oh well, they'll just filter in through voyages and oh well, it was an all foes and everything else, and I'll just take them, I guess. No, this is back when you got to cite those bad boys. Not an event since. Guess what? I don't know if he regrets it, but maybe he just loves to clap.
No, are you kidding me? This is like, okay, if anyone out there knows the comedian Brian Regan, he does this bit about having the social fantasy. He wishes he was one of the people that walked on the moon, so that in any conversation, if someone's telling the story about how great their life is, blah blah blah, he could just go, "I walked on the moon," and that automatically wins the argument. So if we ever talk about citing bad crew, Garrick's just going to show up and go, I cited 1001. Who did you?
You know, that's the thing, because I can't think of anyone kind of.
Yeah, I was just then going through that.
Like maybe someone like Shinzon. That's the only one I can think of. Because even Captain Scott, he's a jury rigger. He has the ship. He will get a Scotty event sometime in 2025.
We know someone that is very much looking forward to Shinzon in a Behold. So shout out to Sky Cup there.
You know what? At least she does it for the justifiable reason of it's Tom Hardy and not just because she loves the character.
True,
so not much
true.
love there.
Okay, very quickly, we're just going to briefly talk about the Event Hub very slightly again. We spoke about it last week and we showed it off a little bit. Now it's actually launched into the game, but there were a few concerns about various aspects of it, which I think were slightly misunderstood following on from our interview with Ben. And I think one of the main complaints was all people saying, well, it's too many clicks to get in, and also, well, it's not really doing anything. It's a bit of a... I think there was a bit of begrudging sort of admonishment from the community to think, well, hang on, this is the latest feature, this isn't done much but show us leaderboards. But I think also, I think you've got a bit more, you sort of followed up on this a bit more on a post on the forums, and if you want to...
Well, yeah, a few people are saying, I wish they would communicate what their intentions are. Well, they have. 3 or 4 times in Starfleet Communications, which is their official subforum for news, they posted what's to come, and then obviously Ben's interview with us. You can go back and watch that on our YouTube channel. He talked about plans, everything from potentially, I mean, this is not a guarantee, but I don't want to put words in mouth, but potentially long-term rolling out a full mega from the beginning so that you can see all the events in Planet or different event types. I think he said objective events, achievement events. So yeah, there's a lot upcoming. I mean, this is not the final product, but the issue is they can't just roll out a new feature like this on day one of a mega event or day one of a new achievement or new event type and expect everything to go smoothly. If you recall, he said on his last time here that for the first time he has replicated the stuck voyage bug. Now, this is a bug that's affected hundreds, if not thousands of people. If you've been around the forums or Discord or whatever, you will hear people complain about it from time to time. They have to put in customer service tickets, yada, yada, yada. And this is the first time that they were able to repro it. So if you think that a relatively small crew, I mean, this is not Blizzard, this is not a AAA group that we're working with here. If you think that they can roll out something on day one and have it be bug-free,
Not
they
even
have
the
to roll it out in
AAA companies can do that. So,
right. So it's rolled out in stages for a reason. They are bug testing. I mean, there was a bug with this last skirmish. Battles weren't counting for daily rewards. Small things like that take time to clean up. And like Ben said in chat earlier, the Rona has kind of ruined 2020. So not only they're merged with the buyout from TP, moving offices, Corona working from home, the all for wall stuff. I mean, this is all sort of built up on the plate, and I don't want to be a apologist for them, but like I said, this is not a AAA resourced team, so I'm more than willing to give them rope on this. They have to roll it out. They have to fix the small bugs, and then they can add stuff like the different event types that people have been clamoring for and such. So
I think if it's a matter of communication or like progress, I think we've definitely had more progress over the last 6 months and more communication with them over the last 6 months. Even if people complain, oh, you only talk to us on things, but they do go onto the forums and elaborate that as well. And I think, you said before, Otto, that we've had a lot more coming from them in the last 6 months than we have in the last 2 years. So progress is slow, and again, like you say, with Corona, these things have had an effect, and the buyout and everything. So patience as always.
Yeah, and if if this is not to your liking, take a break from the game. And that's not me kicking you in the butt. Like, I've taken 3 or 4 breaks before. Take a few months off, and then if you get the itch, come back, and maybe something's changed. Maybe something like a Mirror Fanatic is now celebrating because they have a reason to take those awful crews. So I wouldn't say it's the end of the world, but if you're so disenfranchised that you're writing, soliloquies to your hatred of the company, then just...
I think it's a little bit of fear of missing out, but you wouldn't really, what
I was actually thinking about this. It's a case of, I don't know about you guys, but when you reach a certain point in this game, every 10 pack, for example, that you open, it's maybe 8 blues, a ton of schematics you don't need, an all frozen behold, and then maybe 1 out of 20 packs is going to have a gold in it that you don't have. And I can't even imagine leaving the game for 3, 6, 9 months, and then coming back and it's like, oh, well, there's been a portal update, 5 new collections have been added, there's all these purples that you don't have from the events. Yeah. So I can't even imagine what it must look like to have a 4-star behold where no one is frozen.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine that anymore.
I'm not
That's
seen that
crazy.
for a while.
Well, this is something
I think that'd be fun.
It's something that we're talking about from experience.
We've just come back.
Well, this is something that we're talking about from experience. I mean, because if you follow the show, you know that we were upset with things, and so we said, "All right, that's fine. We're gone. If they fix things, we'll come back." And you know what they did? We had a list. At least I had a list of concerns. They addressed them. We came back, and we're having fun again. So it's okay if you're not getting what you want out of a game to move on to the next one, or to check back in later. So I mean, this is becoming a speech. You're entitled, sir. Well, no, it's not my show. So it's idle show.
I'm entitled to ramble on about something everyone knows.
Honestly, my fear is that one week you guys are both saying like, "Oh, we're not coming on this week," and I'll be like, "Oh, it's just me. Oh, fine. I need some guests quick at 7. Let's get drunk again."
Honestly, I think you could make it work. Only if you turned up. Like, you've seen Mary Poppins, right? You know, I think it's maybe the halfway point in the halfway point where Dick Van Dyke's character, Bert the Chimney Sweep, he goes through all these different odd jobs, right? And he has that ridiculous setup of the giant drum on his back, the cymbals, the bell, the tambourine, and I want to see you doing that. I think you could make that work.
No, I just get drunk.
Maybe have like a Vulcan live doing the drum. Like I could see it. That could work.
I just buy the packs and pull packs for an hour and do goals and just get drunk. That's what it would be. That would be the show for the next 6 months. Okay, we digress.
That has been the show.
That has been the show. Okay, let's talk about this week's crew with the glorious Leila is now our 1,500. Oh, hang on, I'm turning off the wrong thing there. Oh, bloody hell, hang on. There we go. Leila Kalomi is our rank 1,500 reward for this week. It is another one of Spock's ex-lovers from the past, just featured in the episode This Side of Paradise from season 2, possibly season 1 of the original series. Anyway, it's not a good episode.
Them, you should know
I have, but I've kind of watched them all in one lump. I've just finished it. I watched Turnabout Intruder literally today, and I couldn't be more glad that I've finished it, because now I don't have to watch it ever again. But no, This Side of Paradise, it is what it is. I'm more excited to see if they actually do Laughing Spock from this episode. I'd be very happy to see that. Leila Kalomi, she is... Cool. Sorry, go on.
No, actually, I like this episode. TOS is hit or miss. This one's a hit, at least for me. Yeah, if we had more time, maybe we'd recap and stuff. But the gist of it is they beam down to the planet, and there are some mind-controlling spores there. So Spock all of a sudden falls in love, and he starts smiling, like you said, showing emotion. And one by one, Kirk is losing his crew until he's the only one left manning the ship.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And just in the vein of outlogicking computers, he figures that the only way to beat the spores is to instill intense emotion and anger into these people to sort of clear the heads, like a drunk after a night of too much. So he starts smacking Spock around until he clears his head, and then they go on and save the rest of the crew. But so it's a pretty lighthearted episode, I think.
It's not the worst.
Well, I think it's a light-hearted episode, but there's quite a bit of good character stuff in there, like the whole Spock's character arc of finally being able to be open and free with his emotions, and I think that's got one of my favorite Kirk moments in it as well, where I think he's alone on the ship because everyone else is like off their heads on the planet having fun, and he's like, I could join them, but the fact of the matter is, like, the Enterprise is where I actually want to be. That is where this is the ship that I love. This is the life that I love. And
he gets sprayed as well, but it has no effect.
Yeah, because they talk about the fact that, everyone always brings up the risk is our business speech, which I think is a great speech. But I think this almost is more... it's not this episode, but
I was going to say,
the big Yeah, it's not this episode, but that's what everyone points to, and I think this almost tells you more about Kirk. That he gets sprayed with a spore that makes everyone else go doolally and they want to frolic in the fields, and he just goes, "No, I want the Enterprise. That's all I want."
Or if you're McCoy, you just go get drunk under a tree. He just sits there drinking the entire episode.
I don't think there's a more McCoy moment than that bit in Shore Leave when he comes back from being dead with 2 women on his arm.
Oh God,
that's the most McCoy moment in the entire world.
I could go on for hours about all the problematic stuff from the original series, but different times. Anyway,
this episode actually, it just came to me now. It reminds me of the Voyager episode Riddles, where Tuvok gets jolted by some electricity, and all of a sudden he forgets that he's Vulcan. So Neelix sort of takes him under his wing, and he goes and does all these things that he finds fun in the moment, from making candles to pastry chef, and it's such like an endearing moment, because normally hard-ass, sarcastic Tuvok is like, he's like this innocent child all of a sudden. But then at the end, of course, they restore who he was. He's robbed of that, and you're like, you feel bad, because you're like, man, Tuvok's having so much fun. If only he could, go back to, if he and Neelix could be friends, all this, he could have all this fun. And so it's a little bit like that. You sort of, you feel for Spock, because he does. I mean, they highlight that all over the series. He does have that eternal internal struggle between Vulcan and human, and this is a good one where he lets it out. So I realize we've not said a word about Leila yet, but it's a good episode.
Well, I think you actually mentioned when you saw her description text, which I'm actually glad they started doing that again. For a long time they didn't bother putting in the episode recaps and the thing, and now they do. And they mentioned, she was a botanist on the planet, and it rekindled her and Spock's love. And it has that brutal line, "It didn't last." And I think whoever came up with that, you know what, well, you did a good job, well done. That being said, I don't much care for this card.
Side dip. How many dipside or side dip have we had in the top 100 ranks, in the kind of higher echelons of crew within the last year? It's got to be between that and Dip Med as well, which is also recently fairly common.
It's just I think about Dipsai, and you know what comes to me immediately? I think of Gauntlet, and I think of the fact that if you go into Gauntlet in a Dip or a Psi Gauntlet, you are going to see walls of Locutus, you're going to see walls of Boothby, you're going to see walls of the Red Angel. Pardon me, Jesus. You just see so many of them, and they're all good. And we talk about a lot about the value of the next replacement, of who you could reliably spring to for an improvement. And side dip, there are just so many options. And the thing is, that kind of comes with the territory, because Star Trek is about science fiction and about diplomacy, ultimately. So it kind of makes sense that a lot of the cards would be dip side. But I do kind of wish that, we had our NSEC Mega, we had our oh god, my brain is failing me. We have our command side, that's the one. Yeah. Where they add a lot of a certain skill set, and it's usually underrepresented before. But I don't think anyone at any point has said, you know what I need more dip side voyages.
Well, the flip side of that coin is, I was looking for a crew comp for her, and she's shockingly similar to Homesteader Janeway. They both have the same skill set. Their psi base is within 10 points of each other. Their voyage scores within 1 point of each other, 1 or 2 points. So obviously the star advantage is big and the advantage is big. But if you've got her, if you had Homesteader Janeway 3-5 from the temporary achievements, you cited her up and she's just putting in absolute work for you, you could probably expect about the same from Leila. Now, obviously, the investment wouldn't pay off in 2-3 years from now quite as well, because she's not still pulling in faction after faction event. But in terms of day one power, she is very, very similar to Homesteader, which is a crew that I think everyone listening should have.
What's the difference? I think you're gonna have Leila at 1-5, but anyone playing in the last 3 months, which I assume everyone here has, you will have 3 of 5 Homestead of Janeway. Now, when unless you rank, what is it, top 250? No, top 75 to get 3 stars, isn't it?
75, yeah.
Yeah, top 75 to get 3 stars. Unless you're going for that in a galaxy, God bless you. Yeah.
To get extra copies.
3 cards, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or am I wrong?
3 cards is top 15.
Top 15, Jesus. So,
2
yeah.
cards is top 25, yeah.
So to even match...
Yeah, because...
Yeah.
Please expand that. I want to put in effort and be rewarded.
I think, Ben, I not so subtly mentioned that during our interview in case if we're going to look at event reward structure, because it is gonzo. Like, I remember when Age of Sail Wolf came along, in the case of, I don't use them all that much on Voyages, and like, you got me an extra tier in the Age of Sail collection, well, that's appreciated, but the fact is, I wanted him because he was a Worf, and they don't often turn up in events, I don't feel like. And I was like, I'm actually going to try it. I'm actually going to try and rank high. And I got, I think, 13, because I got 3 out of 5 on him, and then I finished him off with citations. And it was really hard. It was extremely hard, and it was worth it. But that was like a weird confluence of a crew I wanted in an event I could actually do, and they would be worthwhile citing. And that, I think for a lot of people, and maybe their favorite crew is in the game, and they just didn't have that chance. And I feel like it really wouldn't kill them if it was a case of, maybe top 1,500 to 1,000, 1 star, then maybe another star. Yes, absolutely. Number 1 should get all 5 copies, and maybe number 2 should get all 4. But just sequester them a little bit more fairly, because it feels like you put a lot of work for a few extra bits of dilithium and a few extra premium pulls.
I think like 1/500 is a nice balance for getting the gold in the first place. That seems to be quite a competitive edge. I don't know whether that's just a bit of experience from the community to know where to push for. I mean, I remember when Vice Admiral Janeway's her rerun, they dropped it down to 2,500. That got hella competitive, especially because I was trying to rank higher. I was trying to get into the top 75 and just could not. But, I think, whether you go for 1/500 or whether you go for, I can't remember, where's number 2? My brain's failing me tonight. Where's getting 2 stars, that is top 75, isn't it? Could 2 stars.
25.
Top 25.
Like
See, 25 to 15
top
just for the
75
extra.
is for the 10 premium pool.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think,
it kind of gets to this point where you have to either, especially because there's achievements for getting that high, and you have to think, well, I'm going to have to wait for an event that no one wants the crew, in which case I'm probably not going to want the crew. In fact, I think the last one I can think of where people were like, I don't care, was the Colonel Q event as the last part of the Scoundrel Mega. Everyone looked at that and was like, it's anyone's game, because I don't want it.
Yeah. Anyway, Leila.
I hate to make this one long suggestion episode, but it's something we've talked. Well, there was a thread pinned in on the Bridge subforum on Wicked Realm Games forums. I think it was last October, and they were asking the community for input on bonuses, and I don't think they specified. I think they were looking for collection bonuses. I'm not quite sure. And I don't want to say they didn't follow through on it, but we don't know what happened with that. A lot of people voiced their opinions on what we could get.
Was that before TP took over?
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
I'm pretty sure it was in October of last year, so about a year ago. But some of the ideas there, and I know, Stars, you've talked about it before, instead of getting just a premium pack at 350,000 VP, maybe we get an event pack. Something like that where we can sort of target these crew, because right now it is really hard to get multiple copies of a crew from events. And I know that's part of the point, because they have to sell packs, they have to keep the lights on, etc. But in terms of new bonuses, new fun stuff that we haven't had before, I think the ability to target specific crew, there's people out there that love Leila Kalomi, and they just can't. I mean, someone who could seduce Spock is a pretty high bar. So maybe they want 2 or 3 copies.
Oh,
maybe
I don't know. There are quite a few people that can seduce Spock. I did just watch the Stratos episode. What's her name?
No, he's a reluctant lover.
Yeah.
But I mean, the chance to sort of get these targeted crew, if their circumstances don't otherwise allow them to pull packs, I think would be just a nice little addition. But
yeah,
we could go on and on for suggestions.
Definitely.
Well, I'm going to add one more. We were actually talking about this. We were thinking about how we don't want to set this into a suggestion episode, but if you think about the way this game's economy works, and if you look at the time pool right now, you will see, okay, you've got your recap packs, you've got your event packs, and then you've got your standard time portal, right? And it's a 10 times pull, 650 dilithium, and you have a shot at 700 plus crew. And I don't feel like that mechanic has been looked at or any like improved since the game came out, and there were maybe 200.
Yeah,
like the portal is so heavily diluted that
it's crazy.
If you actually want to target a crew, you either have to wade into 6 packs, which is dangerous, or wait for a rerun,
or the
right, you have to essentially wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to just wait.
I think like, and I've mentioned this to so many people before, and again, we're not going to digress too much further, but another free-to-play game I play, actually free-to-play, and because I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan, but is Dragon Ball Legends. Now, they have a similar kind of thing. You pull from the portal, and you get crew, or you get your fighters, but they don't have an all-in-one portal like Star Trek Timelines does. They have very specific. They have like, here's who's in this pack this week, and it's like, it's your regular and it's your regular common, uncommon, rare crew, but there's also, you've got a chance of X amount of 15 to 20 golds, and they kind of focus it down a bit, and they change it up week to week, and they rotate it around. And I think that that, again, like you also said, no one turns in suggestion episode, but I always think about that when we talk about the portal being too diluted, which it is. It's huge. Like, I'm dreading a portal update because I've got stars I need. I would like them to not until but then there are people who have got every crew that do need those non-portal crews, so there has to be a balance.
Yeah.
Well,
no, you go.
Something else that I guess this is another suggestion, so fuck me, right? But
this is the suggestion episode. Okay, change the whole thing.
We'll change the title afterwards. Yeah, so we get these new bonuses through this this collection. If they had a few more, we're creeping closer to 12 hours. And I know a lot of people for a long time have wanted old golds added to the voyages. And Wicked Realm has said that that's not in the plans right now. But I mean, if we're going to 10 or to 12-hour voyages, maybe 12, 30, I mean, it would take quite a few collection bonuses to be added to reach that. But I think adding them at a reduced drop rate after 10 hours is a good way to combat the portal. I mean, they're already sort of supplementing it by giving us longer and longer voyages, but like the chat has already said today, they get so many all frozen purple beholds that there's only so much excitement that comes from going to 10, 12, 14 hours, extending your voyages and getting more purples that you don't need. So maybe some old golds would add a little flavor to that, even if you end up airlocking them anyways.
Yeah, and I think it's also worth noting that, like, they have shown a willingness to experiment with how the portal works. Like, recaps were a brand new thing. Like, I'm pretty sure we went a few megas without those being a thing. And the themed event packs, which are even cheaper as discounted, like, these are cheaper and more aligned with what you would want. And in terms of their value versus the standard pull, they're cheaper, and they allow you to target the specific crew that you actually want. Like, I don't know, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you did a standard 10 times portal pull for 650 dilithium that wasn't because you got it out of a deal?
Actually, when I was done with my last alt and I was trashing it and I airlocked everything and I used all my dilithium on premium normal 650 portals. So that's the last time I did it.
I think that says it all, really.
I think even with the packs, so we had one of the recent LTOs that I bit on was the 15 3k dilithium 3k things. So I bit on that and I got my 15 packs and I did them all, and I didn't get a single gold. It was mostly all frozen beholds, or I'm exclusive. I'm not taking all SRs. I'm only taking ones that can be useful, or less T10s. But I had 101 out of that, and that was the most prized thing out of 15 packs. And I was just like, oh my god, this is fucking awful. Like, I'm not saying they should throw a guaranteed gold at us every time, but it's a little bit like, okay, we've put that into it. Just it's that's too diluted.
And the thing is that I totally get why it's taken them so long, because this is a very delicate balance.
Yes.
Like, you start fiddling around the time pool, how long does it take for, oops! Suddenly, all the standard portals are spitting out everything as a gold.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops! I accidentally changed that 0 to a 1, and now everything is a guaranteed for gold. Well, now I've completely ruined the entire economy of the game. We have to do a rollback. Like, you have to be careful with this stuff, and you have to make sure you aren't devaluing your currency, because that is, as you say, the lifeblood of the game.
There are tangential ways that they can, if not fix it, at least address it. Stuff like more collections, because I mean, whether it's an all frozen purple behold or an all crappy mirror behold, that's the same in the minds of a lot of people. They're like, I'll never use these crew anyway. But if you attach a little bit of value to them, I don't know how long it takes them from start to finish to add a new collection or to expand a collection, but for not everyone will love vanities and such, but for me, I mean, even if it's not a big stat boosting collection, just give me something to work towards. So I like the I called them bowling bumpers before, just something to put me on a path. And even if the rewards aren't great, I will enjoy pulling up the screen and seeing, tracking my progress, seeing how close I am to finishing it. So we have seen one. Hopefully we'll see more. I know I guessed Eevee Suit last week. We got another Eevee Suit crew. So
we have, and that's a wonderful segue to get us right back on track. So Leila Kalomi, ladies and gentlemen, that's what she does to your game. She gets you talking about the pool. Eevee Suit McCoy is the super rare ranked reward this week, and seeing as a galaxy, you can get all 4 stars for him. He is Med Psi Command, and Med Command in super rare is not entirely too common, even if it is his tertiary. But even still, he's a bit of a... I mean, okay, he's Physician, he's McCoy, that's got to have some sway, but guys, you can probably elaborate a little bit further than what I can.
Well, to be fair, so you say, we have to change the title of this stream, right? I don't think we do, because I'm still of the opinion that every 4-star we've gotten in this mega has been better than the equivalent 5-star relative to your investment. Like,
it's been the mega of the super rares.
Yeah, no, because if you think about it, Sarek is amazing, and Borath Pike was incredible in terms of, like, even just purely on, like, collection value, let alone what they'll do for the Voyages or your arena. And McCoy isn't as good as either of those. Like, that's easy, but he's an easy position. He's an easy McCoy. And I feel like he's just a bit more fun.
Yes.
Than...
Definitely.
Like, it's... I think on the forums that Shan mentioned it was really hard to get this art right.
Yeah.
And that's correct, because it's... Because this is a weird, cool Eevee suit design, and I kind of love it. It looks really, really cool, and it's just nice to have a bit of an uncommon skill set. We don't get a ton of McCoy variants. I don't know. It's one of those cards that I'm going to be happy to have 4 out of 4. I'm sure he'll do some faction work for me in the future. I don't know. He's just definitely fun. And I look at him and I think, I'm going to get him 4 out of 4, and I look at Leila Kalomi and I was like, the best I'm going to do is top 1500. And
like, definitely the artwork on McCoy is perfect. It's brilliant, and my often complaint is I hate crew that are looking at the screen, and he's looking as far from the screen as you can. Sorry, not as far from the screen as you can. So he's looking pretty much off. But it's really lovely rendition. Actually, I think makes the Eevee suits in the original series look better on there than it did there. So it's always an achievement.
So you're saying Picard in #1 is your favorite crew ever, right? Because he's not even, his back is to you completely.
That's true. Yeah. But he's, I don't know. Maybe I need to start doing a ratio of how of the angles people are looking at the screen.
He's just doing the coin pose. You trace his head, you put that on a coin. There you go. Perfect. That's Federation.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it's perfect. Silhouette profile.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to rain on some people's parade here. Because we've had, this is like our 3rd or 4th Eevee suit crew in a while. And people they heard, I think it was Shan mentioned, we're going to get a new collection. And she said, mirror maybe. And then people were still like, maybe it'll be Eevee suit.
Yeah.
And it's like, will it? Will it be Eevee suit? Like, what? I don't mean to like rain on people's parade because there was a trend.
We can will things into existence. We said honor sale, bam. 2 months later, honor sale. We can make things happen if you believe in yourself.
Is this where we get onto Auto's correct predictions segment? In August of 2020,
you'll never stop. You'll never stop.
I will put 4,000 incorrect predictions out into the ethos as long as one of them comes back with what I want,
There you go. A broken clock is correct twice a day.
That's right.
But yeah, so I didn't understand the logic behind EV Suit Collection, because it's we've had 3 or 4 EV Suit crew added in a while, and it's a case of, okay, if we had a load of Klingon crew added, does that mean we're going to get a Klingon collection?
I can see the parallels. It's not confirmation bias. What's the word for it? It's looking for connections that aren't there. Or you see a lot of things happen, and equally they've all been humans, like you say. Equally they've all been Klingons. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But I think I would love an EV Suit collection. That'd be quite a cool little vanity project to go along with anything else. But yeah, maybe they're just dropping them now for who knows.
Well, I think it's just a case of maybe it just dovetails with the story they want to tell, or is this a case of, what McCoy variant have we got in the bank? Oh, EV Suit, that's an easy one.
Who was before this? Was it EV Suit to Pol?
EV Suit to Pol and Phlox, I think, were in
the... Oh, that's Phlox. I think that's
where
it started, wasn't it?
We had that event with 3 of them in one, and then EV Suit Nam earlier this year as well. Regardless of gameplay considerations, you're right, it does look cool. And we talked earlier about EV Suit Spock.
That's right.
You can sort of see the glare, the reflection on his helmet as well. Not only that, but it just looks way different from the sort of porta potty, EV suit that Spock is in, that the flattering 70s brown or whatever it is, to this one, which is it's just outlandish. But for 1968 or whatever it was, that was futuristic, man. So.
Well, I have a massive appreciation for that style, because I don't know about anyone else, but I mentioned Jerry Anderson shows last week in relation to how Boris Pike's art was a little bit, but this is Jerry Anderson in all the right ways. Where if you ever watched UFO, if you ever watched Thunderbirds, Captain Scarlet,
my childhood that was.
It is all this style, this weird amalgamation of silvery tinfoil and put some bright colored cables so it looks like they go to something. I love that aesthetic, and even if he was an absolutely god awful card, even if he was a 2-star, I'd be like, I want him.
Okay, so
just coming in on the news ticker, ladies and gentlemen, we have in chat a confirmation from WRG Ben. Tune in next month to find out another collection. Now he did ... last week with TUE, and on Tuesday we did get a new collection, right? So
well, this is it.
Devil.
Following on from that, he has also said, what collections would you like to see? Well, so I may have a small collection of collections in my data course list. We have, we've got quite a few chefs, so we could have too many cooks. There's quite a few androids, so, you can have the android collection. A lot of romantics. You could have the level 42 lessons in love, bit of
botanist,
slap
casual, civilian.
Why not? Let's do some more episodes. Let's do the Year of Hell collection. Let's do the Killing Game collection. Let's have some Qs. Let's have 7 of 9 collection. There's enough of those.
You have your sheet pulled up right now.
I do, and literally I'm scrolling through it right now. They have admirals. You want admirals in your collection? There's lots of admirals. You want changelings? Literally call it. I don't think you're ready for this, Jelly. Calling back Destiny's Child fans there. Why not have a collection for all the mega crew? There are enough of them. Why not have a collection for the Voyage exclusive? We have many suggestions. You can find my sheet on the forums under the tips and guides post in the ready room.
As a veteran player, this appeals to me in manifold ways. First, you have just I know not everyone likes to be told what to do, but a vanity, I would say, is a soft suggestion of, okay, if you're looking for an avenue to expand your crew, why not this direction? There's that. There's free stuff for immortalizing them. I say free because there is a cost associated with some of these awful crew, but so you get free stuff. There's just for a veteran player who's done almost everything there is to do, collections are my jam. So give me as many as you can in whatever flavor you can. And since we are being solicited for opinions on this, you can go to the Bridge subforum on Wicked Realm Games forums, and in our Timelines Talks thread, put what you would like to see, and I'm sure Ben will stop by in between shifts of fixing voyage bugs and whatever he does at this time.
Yes, that could go very wrong very fast. So, More collections.
Look, all I'm saying
I'm sorry, who are we
is-
talking about again?
I can't remember. I've lost track. Oh yeah, EV Suit McCoy.
So this one,
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually about to bring it back because if we do get an EV suit collection, I still think it's a bit far fetched, but I can see the logic, kind of. If the reward is not a 5-star EV suit Worf with the Borg arm tourniquet,
yeah.
The tourniquet,
and
yeah.
if he's not like a mega beast of a card,
500%
like, him
damage.
with
No trigger.
500% instant damage, assimilate this, and I want him to be leaning back with the space rifle, and I want like the reflection of the deflected dish floating into the thing in his helmet.
Okay,
I would
so
drop all my sights on that.
I would move heaven and earth for that.
He's security, obviously. He's engineering because he turned the little thing and pushed
Little
it in.
handle, yeah.
And he's medical because he cut off
yeah?
his own blood flow.
Oh,
He's
wow.
sec eng med.
That
This is the
was-
monster crew in the waiting.
Oh,
No, but
I think
Ben,
me and Stars
we were
sitting
talking
there.
about this
Ben,
recently with the
Ben, I
influx
don't
of
ask so much in this game. I don't ask so much. Please,
Worf.
give me a single Worf that isn't command dipsec. I am begging you.
No,
What?
but we've been talking a lot about EV Suit Crew just because they have popped up more often, and there's the one from the Tholian episode in TOS where Kirk is like phasing out of existence on the Defiant or whatever. He's also in the same the red, chrome, and blue that this McCoy is in. Yeah, you obviously have EV Suit Worf. You have Picard, where like we've talked
The
a lot
cracked
about
glass on his helmet. Like,
yeah,
that'd
the
be
cracked
awesome.
glass. And Ben, don't you dare tease him like this. You don't know what he's like when the stream shuts off. He's just Worf nonstop.
I wish they weren't correct.
But
In fact, you know what? I feel like this is an appropriate time to talk about the fact that was it on Sunday we did our experiment?
Saturday. Oh, what
Wait, was
the?
Saturday.
Oh gosh, yes. So we,
Yes.
little private thing. Me, Auto and Stars, and Skycap as well. I ran my first Star Trek Adventure session, just a little tester, just to see if we could. And I think we decided we were going to do. I made a little move along home campaign, and we were all going to play. You guys were going to play established characters, and Stars, you were playing Age of Sail Worf, weren't you? And I think the funniest context is you decided you were going to be still dripping wet as you were walking through these challenges.
Well, not only that, but I warped space and time to hit hologram in the face with a tricorder.
So for anyone that's not played sort of role playing games before, and this was our first time, it was my first time sort of running the game. These guys' first time role playing, but you basically roll dice to do actions, and if you roll well, you do them really good. If you roll badly, you have some sort of consequence. Now I had envisioned a hologram to appear to taunt the players to say, you can't get it. Now Stars in his Worf anger decided he was going to throw his tricorder, and he rolled so obscenely well that he hit a tricorder in the face and broke his nose.
Yeah, and actually,
What I loved about that was the fact that, like, I said, I whipped my tricorder, and you were like, "Oh, so you just take it? No, you take it out and you scan it." And I was like, "No,
you throw
it. I throw it at him as hard as possible."
That was possibly my favourite moment of the night, but yeah.
so this is a game that we're going to explore a little more in the future. If it's something we really get into, we might upload some sessions onto this channel. I don't think we need a whole new channel for it, but
it was really good
actually,
fun. We had a blast.
We've talked about it once before. Disruptor Beam or whoever owned the rights at the time actually licensed the crew art to Star Trek Adventures. So if you start exploring through that game, you'll see a lot of familiar faces there. Yeah. And we're not a stickler to the rules. We're sort of timelinesing it up and adding our own flavor from our love of this game as well. So hopefully we get a little more of that. Maybe we'll put out some content on that. But if you enjoy D&D at all, I actually never appealed to me in the slightest. But after Idle put in all the work of setting things up for us, and after a session, and we're doing another one I think this weekend, it was actually a lot of fun. So
I think
if
you have room for more Star Trek in your week and you're not getting enough,
it's like Timelines. Essentially it's a card collecting game, but you're here for the trek. And the same thing I think goes for Star Trek Adventures. It's an RPG, but you're there for the trek. And I think if you can embrace that and you do the kind of trek that you want to play, and the same timeline, do collect the cards that you want to get, and you want to play it the way you want, I think you'll get a lot out of it. And I think it's the theme over the mechanics more than anything, which I think what people are drawn to.
Speaking of which, Otto hasn't mentioned who he played, which was Ensign Meatbag Harry Kim, who constantly whipped out his music degree to whip us all over the head with it.
Oh, he did.
And I think, like, I had a lot of fun playing Worf, but I think I had a bit more fun watching Otto play Harry, because good God.
Well, they asked me who would want to play Harry Kim. I said, well, this is my first time playing it, so send me through the door first. I'll be the red shirt, and if I get phasered in the face, then so be it.
You did get hit with a Raktajino milk that Skycap threw and failed to hit a drone with, and it was a choice of, I had to roll a dice, is this going to hit Harry Kim or is this going to hit Worf? I was like, no, hit Kim. Anyway, let's move on. We'll talk more about Star Trek Adventures another time.
So if you ever doubted how obsessed with Worf I am, that's how obsessed. So
it was good fun. Okay, let's skip on. Recurring super rare crew yet again in her second event in so many weeks. Christine Chappell has joined us, the super rare crew, who was the ranked reward. The threshold award in the TOS Mega, not mere 6 months ago, and then a threshold award, 4 weeks ago? Not even that.
Well, I think that was Commander Chapel, correct?
No, but Christine Chapel was also... Or am I getting this wrong?
Let me take a look.
Take a look.
I'm pretty sure...
No, you are right. I unfroze her for the faction event where Chapel was a reward, and now she is the focus one. So yes, it's another reason to get Chapel back out of the freezer.
Yeah, this is her second feature. The last one was in December of last year.
Yeah.
Where she debuted.
So the important question is for those that aren't quite going for 1/500 and want those extra couple of stars for it, is she worth it?
Small note before we dive into her, as she is, her stats on release, if you follow the forums and you just looked at what Shan posted, hate to call her out, but the stats were incorrect, and I don't think they were corrected retroactively. So they may, I haven't gone back and looked, but someone pointed out on the forums that actually the stats are different than what they debuted at. So she's a little bit weaker. If you just looked at the event notes first off and then went about your business, she's a little bit weaker than that. That being said, she still has double collections. This is the collection episode. Neither of them are particularly difficult to complete now. Maybe they get expanded, maybe not. But 2 collections in one go, you're already getting a copy from Galaxy Community Rewards. And then beyond that, she has a plus skill set for voyages, but not necessarily the power or event chances. So she's a good get for a younger roster, but I think for most players, she's just going to be a collection popsicle stick.
Yeah, she has like a decent med base, which... if you're in the early game, doesn't really amount to much because it's a case of, well, what am I using med bases for, really? There's not a lot of shuttles to do with it. It's a case of using them to clear nodes, where she would be useful there, I suppose. But where she comes into her own is the rare times that she has an event, that's a big, strong med base that you can use to fill shuttles or for galaxy crafting if you're so inclined.
Sorry, someone was talking about Lokai and Bell from the original series episode on the chat, and I've just watched that episode, and that was mostly people running down a hallway. Okay, not much more to be said on Chapel. The actual talking point this week is our Tuesday pack. It has arrived. You know what? This is, one of my favourite things are this sort of casual day in the life of moments from the next generation. This is an absolute, along with, Fitness Troy and Crusher and, people absconding to the holodeck for whatever reasons to go in various sort of, Dixon Hillish kind of holo programs. We have Mok'bara Crusher, who is, good God, the number 11 voyage base. Fun fact, and not that fun for those that aren't as statistically obsessed as I am, when she came into the game, when her stats were released, she was the number 10 voyage rank. And then when the Mirror Universe collection came in, she's then the number 11 because the security statistic increased. But she is a bit of a monster for those that are inclined to go for Tuesday packs. Good God. But she is dip med. So, we have Dip Med in spades. You've got Soji Asher, you've got Goku, you've got plenty of people out there.
You're like that. She's got a great voyage power. That's good. Oh, but she's Dip primary.
You've got to do the
That's
sandwich. You've got to have the good thing,
But
the
she's
bad
got
thing,
great
then the
power.
good thing.
That's good. But she's a crusher. That's bad.
She comes with a free Frogurt. The Frogurt
right.
is also cursed.
So my two favorite things about her are the pose, which is I'm not like an anime fan, but isn't that like the
That's the
Kamehameha or
Kamehameha.
whatever?
Yeah. Talking about Dragon Ball, here we are.
I'm
She's
not
charging up.
I know, because the Kamehameha is, I think, like that.
Yeah, but you
Right.
start off, you grab it, and then you pull it to your waist, and then you push, come on.
Well, I was going to say, isn't that more
The Dragon
what,
Ball
like,
Z fan.
Yeah, I was going to say. Isn't that more what, like, Prophet, Kira, and Parade Jake are doing?
Yeah.
I think, isn't she, like, charging up like a spirit bomb, really?
Now the spirit bomb's the hands in the air.
She's charging up a spirit lamp.
There we go. Nerd.
And my second favorite thing about her, as Sarah's mentioned, they're bringing back the flavor text, which is fantastic. So hers says, and I'm reading it from my phone because I was lucky enough to pull her. Beverly practices the Klingon art of Mok'bara to meditate and also to pry into Troy's love life.
That's great.
So if you were like a soap opera, if you're that guy that wrote in and said, "Where are all the bombshells from TOS?" If you play the game for reasons other than stats, this is a good crew to have. Crushers, she's had good crew in the past. I mean, she has like Doc Crusher's still great in Gauntlet, but I mean, in terms of golds, she's had good crew in the past. But that was 2017 when we had Mirror Bev Crusher, and since then Power Creep has done its thing. So if you're a Crusher fan, I mean, this is kind of your chance to jump on it. And the pack isn't blow your socks off, but there are a couple other gems in there to sort of justify going at it for Crusher. But for me, it's the pose, it's the flavor text, and it's the fact that we had Prisoner Kim, like a great Harry Kim, and we're now getting a great Crusher. All of these sort of we had a great Chakotay recently, so these sort of lesser heralded I don't want to say background names because they weren't in the show, but these crew that aren't representing the great in game, we're getting a few monsters, and Bev is really, like you said, great on voyages.
And I think it's worth noting that she's another Dip Med, but the fact of the matter is, if you're going to go for a Dip Med crew, you might as well go for the best one in the game. So
number one.
Her base ranks. Her base ranks aren't amazing, but for Dip Med, for this stack, she is the best option to go for. And like you say, it's nice to see Crusher actually get some decent variants because, good God, she's got some real bad ones.
However,
so I kind of want to.
However, don't do 6-packs, kids. We've always said this, haven't we? She's sitting in a 6-pack. This is the trap card. This is after Prisoner Kim, after Breen disguised Kira, now Mok'bara Crusher. This is all...
I'm pretty sure when we start talking about the 6-pack crew, the VIP Zero watchers just like mute us in there. They wait till the next crew comes up.
I've just watched our viewership dropping. Oh no, not really.
Yeah. So on that note, I'm gonna make them start like wailing in fear. I had about 5,000 dills saved up because I was like, you know what? There haven't been any crew that I particularly need right now. And I saw this pack, and it had a few crew in it that I've wanted for a while. Especially I actually really wanted Mountain Climber Mayweather because I got a lot of use out of Delta Flyer Paris, and I was like, this is a refresh of that card. Essentially, it'll be a useful little voyage code to have. And then Mok'bara came out, and I was like, these are good stats, and I really like Beverly as a character. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm not using this deal for anything else. I'm not going for recaps. Let's go. And I didn't get Crusher, which was a bit of a crusher. Shut up. You're the co-host, you're not allowed to undermine me. Huh? I was trying to work in like a burning a candle at both ends joke, but I couldn't work out a place to put it.
How many sub-rows of references can we put in this episode?
Stars has a tattered notebook where he just he flips through and he's got my
terrible jokes. Yeah, that's my cursed artifact. So yeah, don't do 6-packs, but in this instance, I was lucky. I managed to get a Mountain Climber Mayweather. I got 2 Gladiator McCoys, and I got lucky enough to get a few Beholds out of. I took the offer, the $22.99 one, and I got Boar Queen, I got Daha Master Koloth, who is the good Klingon from that one, the actual one with good stats. I got Gladiator Spock, and it does sound a bit like I'm like like rubbing it in people's faces, but guess what? Good things occasionally happen in this game. Occasionally, something nice happens to people who deserve it. So don't do 6-packs.
Yeah. We forget our point.
You got Crusher. Shut up.
Did you get Crusher?
No, I wasn't gonna pick on you. I just, this is a good episode. Let's keep it upbeat,
Which one? Because I thought the one where she picked on when she was prying into Troy was when they were in the gymnastics uniforms. I thought that was a different
The
one.
Jazzercise, yeah.
Was that the same one as Dark Empath Troy?
When they're stretching each other out, right?
You know it well, don't you?
Is it not the prize? Is it not the one with Auto's Man Crush Devononi Ral? Is it not that one?
Dark Empath Troy.
Well, she's sort of her gal pal on the ship, so
Yeah.
I mean, no one's talking about their love life with Pulaski.
Actually, I'm pretty sure they're talking about their love life while Mott's doing her hair and she's back with things. So
Oh yeah, she does her nails too, right during that episode.
This is
Who said this was a boys' club show? Come on.
This on your style guide for Star Trek: The Next Generation. We'll be talking about Troy's mascara next episode. No. Okay, let's move on before we get too many complaints. The LTOs for this week. 2 crew have popped up. The Prophet, the Mirror Universe version of Sarek, and before I forget who. Oh yes, Dark Ages McCoy is also the 2. Bearing in mind let's talk about the Prophet first. So bearing in mind we now have a mirror collection to contend with, and he is also a Vulcan, and he is also Discovery. He is also a Vulcan. No, I've said that already.
He's double Vulcan.
He's double Vulcan. He's twice as Vulcan as
To be fair, it doesn't get more Vulcan than Sarek, really.
Yeah, yeah. So
You've heard of man amongst men. He's a Vulcan amongst Vulcans.
So let's talk about this from the perspective of if you were to buy on the LTO, and I'm just gonna mention something before we do. I did buy on it on the first day because he actually turned up on the Monday. Usually LTOs turn up on the Tuesday, so the Monday the LTO turned up. I bit on profit, and then all of a sudden on the Tuesday, boom, comes up again. So we actually had a weird kind of double occurrence, and I imagine speaking to a colleague of ours. Who actually bought them both, he said yes, they both appeared on the Tuesday as well. So whether this was a bug or whether I doubt it was intended, but yes, there was the opportunity to actually get a couple of stars there, which is uncommonly heard of. But anyway, the Prophet, guys, please save my breath.
You doing okay over there?
Well,
doing fine.
We are close buddies, so we talk about just about everything this game has to offer. And he said, "Guys, should I buy this offer?" And I came out con because I said, if you're buying 4 collections at $10 a pop, $10 a star, how much money does that cost to finish a collection? And a profit is a little bit better than that because he picks up mirror collection, obviously. So these, with the expanded Vulcan, these are 2 collections which you do need a gold to finish. And like we said earlier, you want to attach it to a name who you can use for years to come in events, most likely. And Prophet is that. I think he's second only to current campaign crew, Science Officer Spock in terms of past event count. Now, maybe that's a little bit backwards looking. We don't know what's going on with Discovery, but he does have a smorgasbord. Sarek has had standalone variant events. This is our second Vulcan Mega. Mirror Universe has had a Mega and a few standalones. Telepath may yet hit. Interrogator had a Mega. So this guy, if you got him when he first came out, you've used him on event shuttles probably more than anyone else in the game. So this double collection is, and that may be what you're after, but you'll still use him afterwards. And even if his event clip sort of dips a little bit, he's still got a good base. With bonuses, I think it's close to 1,400. But also, when you look at his base for those trades, for those shows, he's ranks number 1 or number 2 in almost every category. So he's not much of a Voyager. He doesn't have a lot of daily use, but for the collection event pairing, I think he's certainly above average there.
Yeah, and I think it's also, this is something we didn't bizarrely talk about enough when we talked about the Mirror Collection. So we've just had our second Vulcan Mega, which was again a bit of a, so we're doing racial megas again, because we had a Klingon, we had a mirror, we had a hologram twice, I'm pretty sure.
Ferengi.
We were like, this opens the door again, because we thought it was going to be nothing but trait megas and show megas alternating. So the idea that, hey, maybe we'll get another Klingon Mega, maybe we'll get another Mirror Mega, maybe we'll get the Bajoran Mega or the Ferengi Mega we've wanted for ages. Like, it's interesting to see these racial traits get a bit more relevance, because they were big back in the day. Like that's what a mega event was. And now we're looking at it and going, maybe this is the thing again. Maybe it's worth actually collecting these crew just for... It's not just for traits anymore, it's for these specifically aligned traits. And you could, as you say, you could do a lot worse than going for a double collection crew. You could do a lot worse. But, like you say, $10 a pop.
Rule of acquisition 291 says collect traits, because they're gonna try to fuck with your head. If you think you can predict,
I'm gonna need a site on that.
Is gonna be no, just collect traits, and he has some juicy ones. So.
Yeah, no, definitely event count number with a 40 is worth looking at. Okay, so previous medical dark horse in the world where medical was rare, Dark Ages McCoy. Again, we were talking about Dip Med. He has Med Dip. He's one of the weird crew as well, that as you level and star him up, he switches from Med Sec to Med Dip as well. I think they're both sort of roughly parallel, moving up the ranks. But Dark Ages McCoy, again, coming on hot with EV Suit McCoy. Has he kept pace with the current sort of Med-Assance we've had? And that's a terrible word, and I hate it, but it's true.
I love it. I love Med-Assance.
Yeah, Med-Assance was, the advent of a lot more med crew that we've had recently. Does he still sort of hold up the par with, for people that have got him 3 or 5 and thinking, oh, hang on, this is going to be my side project for whatever may come?
So, little known rule of acquisition 292 is that don't take bad crew just because they have med. It's a bit of a non sequitur. I don't know what the Grand Nagus was thinking when he came out with that one, but it's very forward-looking advice. Weird. This guy was a bit of a hoss back in his day. Like, he was like a mid-2016 card, and I'm sure he was like amazing then. I managed to luck into him through various begolas and had him 5 out of 5 for it, and he was running voyages for me for a while. Because med crew back then were not nearly as prosperous. People didn't have Bones McCoys just falling out of their pockets and turning their nose up at big med bases.
Back in my day.
Back in my day, you had a Sulan and you liked it. That was a bit more Trip Tucker, but don't worry about it.
Yeehaw.
And yeehaw, indeed. But you look at the ranks now, and you look at who you can get on like a daily basis, and these numbers just kind of don't hold up. If you love the voyage home, if you love that scene, which is probably the funniest scene in the entirety of Star Trek, then maybe it's worth butting on a $10 LTO. But this guy has been in the portal for donkey's ages. I can't see him moving the dial on your roster unless you have been taking Command Dip Set crew in every single Begold possible. And even then, I don't see where... I don't know. His ranks just are not good enough. Not anymore.
So we talked last week about crew aging well. And there's going to be a Timelines Talks episode in September 2023, and we're going to say, and Mok'bara Crusher is going to be an LTO, and we're going to say, she had her day in the sun. If she's been, great for a long time, but don't take her just because she has med. The ranks don't support it. But you will have gotten 3 years of use out of her by then. As Garrick rightly points out, he was a reward in mid-2016 for the first Galaxy event. We had 4 skirmishes to kick off events, and then he was the first Galaxy crew there. And there are a few names that hold up well. By now they don't hold up, but they have held up exceptionally well. He is one. Tempted Data is another. Lieutenant Commander Jadzia Dax is one, especially for events where you look at them and you're like, the numbers aren't good. Yeah, that's because, they're older than some of the alcohol that I drink. But the point is, they have been great up to this point. So you can find, I mean, you can look at contemporaries like Mok'bara Crusher who are present day, and you think, okay, in 3 years, this is what they're going to look like. Shout out to SSR Barkley, who, when we were on the Citation show, we were talking about Julian Bashir. He's another crew who's sort of flatly distributed stats, a little bit of med-sec action, and he says he still uses them on his voyages, and he's got, you know, a very well-developed roster. So I won't say he's a no-hoper. You don't obviously you don't want to be investing in crew with those kind of ranks, but if there's any kind of crew that's going to be making voyage runs below rank 200, it's going to be med-sec type. So like you say, don't take him just because he's med, but for the hospital scrubs collections coming up next month, maybe you want him. You know, if you have him at 4 or 5, I will not begrudge you finishing him, because
anyone else is... Oh, so there's Surgeon Pulaski. Who else?
Well, there's...
Yeah.
So you're forgetting about Scrubs.
Toby Russell.
Toby Russell,
Toby
yeah.
Russell, yeah.
There's
collection.
That's 4.
Same scene. There you go. Bashir wore the weird red onesie as well.
Oh, he did once, yes.
Your favorite supporting character of all time, or do you remember season 2 episode Samaritan Snare, where the B plot is Picard and Wesley in the shuttle, and he's going to get his heart replaced, and your favorite supporting actor of all time,
his heteropsychic declination, we've got to see he's gonna die.
that guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
That is he maybe the most memorable like one-line actor in the show?
Maybe.
Because I'm trying to think. Okay, someone I really want.
no, that's got to be Vreenek.
Oh well,
It's
that's
got to be the
He
It's
was
a
on
Fake.
line.
I don't know, did he?
He did.
Did he?
Because he had that whole conversation with Cisco about fake Califal.
okay. What one of my favorite moments from it? It wasn't even her line, but Ensign Sonia Gomez from season 1 TNG. She's walking with a cup of hot chocolate or whatever in her hand. She bumps into Picard, splashes the front of his uniform, his shirt front, with this liquid, and she starts freaking out because it's a captain. She's like rubbing her hands on his chest, trying to like absorb the liquid with her hands. Oh no, it's all over you, sir. And Picard just delivers the most dry, yes, Ensign, it's all over me. And it's like for like a 1 or 2 show character, that's one of my favorite moments. So if we ever get like,
there was plans to have Sonia Gomez stay on, wasn't there?
She was going to be Geordie's girlfriend long term.
Yeah.
or Geordie's?
She was going to be Geordie's girlfriend, because the other appearance is, I think, in
Poor guy.
peak performance. I could. Do you want to know where you might have seen that actress before? She is
Sonia Gomez?
Yeah, she is the 3-breasted woman in Total Recall.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah. But yeah, she was going to be Geordie's like girlfriend, and then they realized, hey, it's a little bit weird to have him dating someone who's below him in rank.
I'm
which
so
is
sorry.
odd, considering the fact that
I have to apologise. I'm so sorry for cutting you off. Because you know who she was? She was the 3-breasted woman. Oh, yes, of course. I'm going to fucking remember the breasts. I feel so bad. Like, that's... Sorry, carry on.
But yeah, so she was going to be Geordie's long-term girlfriend, which is baffling to me, considering we all know that Geordie's long-term girlfriend is Data.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
it's also that
Remarkably, only Data grew the beard from that. So
bizarrely, we need bearded Data in the game, even if he's just a 2-star. That'd be amazing. But
Where
that
are we?
bit with Sonia Gomez also reminds me of the fact that, do you know what episode that comes from? That's the introduction of the Borg. Like, you go from that scene, and then Q interrupts him in the turbo lift, and then you get the Borg episode. It's like, that is a weird way to start your Borg episode.
Oh. And that was when the Borg were originally supposed to be an insectoid race, you know, before they changed that very last minute. And originally, the Ferengi was supposed to be the big bad on the terms of the Borg, and they went, actually, no, these guys are a bit too flamboyant.
So the only thing of substance to come from this last hour 40 minutes is tune in next month for something collection related. So
There may have been a few tangents. We did say we were going to... Nah, you know what? You know, this is fun. It's fun with more tangents. It's certainly more interesting than Leila Halloumi. I think that's going to be our episode, guys. We'll be back next week. Please, if you look at the podcast, if you need to check us out not live, check us out on the YouTube if you're not going to be here, and join us on stream.
And collection suggestions were solicited by WRG employees. So if you want to find our show thread on the WRG forums, you can feel free to post your suggestions there. And
how did we forget about TOS Bombshell Collection? That's an easy one.
Oh yeah, there you go. You know,
I don't want to be too self-serving on this show.
If you have any questions, please shoot us a PM on a DM on Discord or on the forums. We have an email, timelinestalks@gmail.com. I don't check it as regularly as I should, but you do when it's WRG interview time. If you do have any, I'll check it now. I'm saying it. If you do have any questions you just want to shoot to us, please send them along or come in chat. Or if you can't make it live, ping them across. But guys, unless you've got anything else you want to address this week, we will do our bit more of our knockout competition next week. We're going to sort of expand it a little bit, I think, and do a bit more with it, maybe introduce a new sort of theme to it. But yeah, we'll get back on that next week. But guys, anything else from yourselves?
Start collecting names for your honor suicide pact. Because I think we'll do that before too long, and we want to bring the misery, spread the misery and joy to as many people as we can. So,
and we want screenshot proof. You've got to show us you've immortalized those. Yeah,
if Lieutenant Junior Grade Palmer is the top of your list, or Mugatu, the weirder and stranger, the better.
You know what's sad? I don't think by the rules that we put of like the 30 base, I don't think she qualify.
She's number 1.
People can choose whatever rules they want. This is for fun.
Yeah,
I think she might be one of those weird exceptions.
Yeah, I'd allow that. I'd allow it.
But anyway, we're going to check out now, and we will be back again next week to talk about the final week in the Mega, and hopefully whoever's going to be our flashback crew, the goal that we will all be probably fighting to add another star to. So, from myself, Mira Bashir. I mean, okay,
I need one more star on him for the threshold.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. No, actually, no, that makes sense.
Save it for your honor suicide pact.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
that'd be an easy one.
From myself, from Auto, from Stars,
the three-breasted alien. That's where I know her from. The three-breasted alien.
Just that's the one. Never mind the rest of the film. That's where you put your focus.
You think this is the real equate? It is.
Okay, well, next week we're going to have our Total Recall stream, and we're just going to talk about the cards you'll see in that Mega.
Oh, how about we already have. No, we don't have him. Die Hard Picard from Insurrection. When he's climbing the collector, and he explodes it from the bottom, and he's holding on. You can tell he really pumped some iron.
That's right. He's quite
for that movie. He's holding the rifle in one hand and he's holding onto the thing with he's like flexing that's Die Hard John McClane Picard right there. We need that.
Well, the most Die Hard moment is the one you're forgetting to mention, which is when Rafu has his gun on him and he's like, don't you dare mess with that. And there's all the exhaust going off and it's like flammable. And the most Die Hard moment in the entire movie is you're really going to risk igniting the exhaust, and then Rafu brings his gun down. All right, I will, and then blows him right off the thing. It's like that's the most Die Hard thing in the world.
I have a phaser rifle now. Ha ha ha. And on that note,
quicker. If you don't sign off within 5 seconds, we're just going to go on.
I'm going to have to go. We're going to have to go. Guys, it's been fantastic. This has been a good week. We will see you